The restaurant was loud with laughter, clinking glasses and the low hum of conversations. Emma sat at the corner table, hands folded in her lap, trying to smile. This dinner was supposed to be a celebration, her promotion, but the moment belonged to someone else. Now, let's be honest, her husband Mark said loudly, raising his glass. Emma didn't get promoted because she's smart. She just knows how to please the right people. The table exploded with laughter. Emma felt her face burn. Someone coughed awkwardly. Another guest avoided her eyes. Mark kept going, enjoying the attention. She's always been average, he added, without me. She'd be nothing. Emma looked down at her plate. Her hands trembled, but her voice didn't come out. Years of being corrected, silenced, and belittled had taught her one thing: reacting only made it worse. Inside, something cracked. She remembered every sacrifice. The nights she stayed up helping him build his business. The jobs she refused so he wouldn't feel insecure. The dreams she quietly buried. And now here she was reduced to a joke for entertainment. Mark leaned closer. Smile, he whispered, don't ruin the mood. So she did. Emma smiled calmly, lifted her glass and said nothing. No tears, no anger, just silence. But in that silence, a decision was made. This wasn't the night she would fight back. This was the night she would start planning. And no one at that table realized that the quiet woman they laughed at was already walking toward an ending they would never forget. That night, Emma didn't cry. That surprised her. She sat alone in the dark living room, replaying every word, every laugh. But instead of pain, she felt clarity. For the first time, she saw her life without excuses. Mark wasn't cruel by accident. He was cruel because she allowed it. The next morning, Emma woke up early. She made breakfast like always. She listened while Mark complained about his work, his stress, his sacrifices. She nodded. She agreed. She stayed quiet, but something had changed. While Mark was distracted, Emma opened her laptop. She checked her bank account, the one she had secretly kept since her first job. Small deposits over the years. Nothing dramatic, but it was hers. She started organizing documents, her promotion contract, emails she had saved, messages Mark had sent when he thought no one would ever read them. She didn't rush. She didn't confront him. She didn't warn anyone. Emma knew, driven by anger, burns fast and dies young. She wanted something colder, smarter, permanent. At work, she stopped apologizing. She spoke clearly. She took notes. People began listening. Her confidence didn't announce itself. It simply existed at home. Mark noticed the change. You're quiet lately, he said. One night. I'm just tired, she replied calmly. That answer satisfied him. What he didn't know was that Emma wasn't tired. She was awake. And every step she took from that moment forward was measured, patient, and leading somewhere he could not see. 3 months later, everything looked normal from the outside. Mark's business dinner invitations increased. Emma attended fewer events. She said she was busy with work. That wasn't a lie, just not the full truth. Emma had been asked to lead a major project, one that involved finances, one that exposed numbers that didn't add up. At first, she thought it was a mistake. Then she saw the names, Mark's name. Her chest tightened, but her face remained calm. She didn't accuse. She didn't panic. She documented everything. Late nights turned into evidence. Evidence turned into options. One afternoon, Mark burst into the apartment furious. My accounts are frozen, he shouted. Do you know anything about this? Emma looked up slowly. No. She said gently, that sounds stressful. For the first time, he looked unsure. Days later, the truth came out publicly, not from Emma's mouth, but through official channels. Investigations articles. Whispers that grew louder. At the same restaurant where he once humiliated her, people now avoided his eyes. Emma sat at her desk when her phone buzzed. Mark's name flashed on the screen. She didn't answer. She stood up, walked to the window, and felt something she hadn't felt in years: peace. The courtroom was silent when Mark entered. Gone was the confident man who laughed at others. His shoulders were hunched. His voice shook. Emma sat calmly behind him. Not as a witness, not as an accuser, but as a free woman. When Mark finally saw her, his face drained of color. "You knew," he whispered later. "You planned this?" Emma met his eyes. "I told you nothing," she said softly. "I just stopped protecting you." That was the moment he understood her revenge wasn't loud. It wasn't emotional, it was honest. Outside cameras flashed. Reporters asked questions. Mark said nothing. Emma walked past them, head high online. People praised her strength, others criticized her silence. She didn't respond to either. She didn't need validation. The humiliation Mark once served her had returned quietly, cleanly and publicly. Months later, Emma sat in her new apartment, sunlight filling the room. No shouting, no walking on eggshells, just peace. She received messages from women she didn't know. "Your story gave me courage. I thought silence meant weakness." Emma smiled. She had learned something important. Strength doesn't always scream. Sometimes it waits. At her next promotion ceremony, she stood alone. No one spoke for her. She spoke for herself, and this time the room listened.